Australia's secret Chernobyl. Let's see what this is.
This is Wittenoom. It's a place in northwestern Australia in the middle of the outback. Once, Wittenoom was the largest city in the region. Today, the houses are empty. On paper,
Bro, I swear they play catch with weights upstairs. Actual professional upstairs neighbors. It's driving me fucking crazy.
this town no longer exists. The Australian government has removed it from official maps. The soil, the bushes, and even the dust in the air are highly carcinogenic. Every breath can be toxic. Wittenoom is Australia.
That's nothing. It looks like
Chernobyl.
Western Appalachia.
Except that it's not radiation that makes this place so dangerous.
Oh.
What happened here?
So what is it then? Because it's not radiation, then it's not Chernobyl. Nope.
Places like Chernobyl and Wittenoom show us how fragile our relationship with our environment can be. It's important to deal with limited resources consciously.
Must be
Holzkern
spiders.
is the leading brand for watches and jewelry made from natural.
Okay, big
asbestos.
sponsor.
In the mid-90s, Holzkern. It all starts almost 100 years ago with a mine. In the mid-1930s, a small company begins to mine a blue mineral in these two gorges. In 1943, a larger corporation called CSR.
I'm just going to make a small request. If you are putting videos into the Hot Topics channel for us to watch, please do not link any Overwatch stuff. I do not want to watch Overwatch videos. I don't care. I'm sorry. Please don't.
Operation. The company wants to increase production. In 1947, with the support of the Western Australian government, CSR establishes a worker settlement 10 kilometers from the mine. Wittenoom is born. It's a typical town with everything you'd expect. A school, a hotel, a hospital, a post office, a bakery. The town grows rapidly.
Okay. Really setting the scene
At
here.
the time, many people flocked to the northwest of Australia in search of employment. By the 1950s, 20,000 people...
I am not an Australian. I am not fully caught up on my land down under geography, but isn't the northwestern Australia the outback? Isn't it the outback? So like kind of the middle of nowhere?
Live in Wittenoom. The blue mineral in the gorges is in high demand. Within a decade, 161,000 tons are extracted.
Oh, you just said that?
The mine
I
is
missed
Australia's only supply. The fine-grained tailings
Outback's
of the
a
mine are
steakhouse?
put in these dumps close by. But the inhabitants are smart.
Yep.
It's a waste if the tailings are just left lying around. They use the residues for
Ask Chloe? Yeah, where's our Australian? Where the f is he? We're talking about Australia. Where's our Australian? He should be here right now.
Buildings or as insulation. The fine blue granules are excellent for mitigating the extreme heat of the outback. The people spread them on the ground, on the sidewalk, around the houses, on the schoolyard, and on playgrounds.
Uh-oh.
But there's a problem. This mineral is asbestos.
Oh no.
Blue asbestos, the most toxic kind.
You and your family may be entitled to a
Asbestos
financial
gets into the lung
compensation.
when dust containing microscopic fibers of the mineral is being inhaled. The asbestos particles
the
are
whole
sharp,
town is popcorn
so they damage
ceilings.
the pleura. That's the protective tissue of the lung. Prolonged exposure scars the organ and completely wrecks it. The result is shortness of breath, a persistent dry cough, and a lot of pain. This is called asbestosis. And it's clear asbestos causes it since the 1930s. Since then, there have been attempts in various countries to regulate the use of the mineral. Nonetheless, after World War II, it's becoming immensely popular. Soon, asbestos is a staple in construction around the world. After all, it's strong, cheap, insulating, and widely available. The market...
I don't want to be that guy, but you know what fucking terrifies me? Like, we're so smart nowadays. We have the internet. We've all advanced. Like, things are good. But like for like our grandparents, it was like cigarettes. Or grandparents, actually, I think grandparents is closer to like lead, right? Lead and cigarettes. With our parents, it was like what? Like there's always something that like everyone is like, yeah, this is fine. I guess the one that's closest to us is probably like vapes, I guess, maybe. But like I think everyone kind of knew that was going to be bad. Mercury, maybe mercury. Microplastics. Oh, it could be microplastics. Yeah, you might be right. Vapes is younger than your Gen Flats. I am not that old, first off. Second off, you're right. It's going to be something in like 20 years. Fuck me.
Kent Micronite cigarettes proudly advertise.
That was not a call to all the conspiracy theorists potentially in chat either. I was not a call to you. I was just thinking out loud.
It's a wild time.
Cigarette designed just for you. Change to Kent.
Someone's like, oh, Flats, actually, do I got something to tell you?
Organizations across the world.
That cell phone next to you, throw it as far away.
Will twist the truth about asbestos in the coming decades, even as the science is becoming crystal clear. The concerns of health professionals are largely being ignored. The same rings tragically true in Wittenham.
Oh god, are those barrels of asbestos they're just playing in?
Eric
oh god.
Saint is a flying doctor. He travels to remote parts of Australia
flying
to
doctor.
take care of people.
Damn, that's crazy.
He visits
That's like a
Wittenham
better
in
doctor.
1948, 1 year after the town's inception. He worries about it right away. He finds the dust concentration in the mine to be extremely dangerous. He informs the mine management about the extreme risks of asbestos. He also shares his concerns with the head of the public health department in Perth and predicts the greatest crop of asbestosis the world has ever seen.
When you say the facts were well known, could one have known at the time that exposure to that sort of dust could kill people?
Yes. Unequivocally, the answer would be yes.
Uh-oh.
Nevertheless,
So why didn't they close the mines? Surely it wasn't to keep the money up, right? Surely not, right? No, that wouldn't
A few
happen.
years later, Dr. Jim McNulty also starts to focus on the health of the workers on site.
And my impression of the mine was that I said at the time it was the worst I'd ever seen.
Surely not, right?
In terms of
Surely.
dust. There was dust everywhere. You got dust in your hair, got it in your teeth when you walked around the mill. You put your hand on a railing, your hand came off black.
McNulty
Ew.
repeatedly informs CSR
Dust
about
in your
the
teeth
dangers
sounds
of
fucking
asbestos.
disgusting.
The mine management does not respond.
Attempts to get changes made to...
Dude, imagine
Dust
just be
measurement.
walking around and dust accumulating in your teeth. Oh my
Particularly,
goodness.
were
Hell
blocked
no.
by, people who had done the same thing for many years.
In 1960, Dr. McNulty diagnoses the first case of a weird, rare cancer in Wittenham. The patient had worked in the mine for 2 years in the late 1940s. You see, since the asbestos fibers are so fine and sharp, particularly the blue ones, they don't just damage the pleura, they get stuck in it, often forever.
Oh
They
god.
irritate the tissue and cause mutations. This leads to
Only 2 years,
mesothelioma,
yeah.
an untreatable form of cancer.
Mesothelioma.
It usually
You are
appears
entitled
with
to
a delay of
financial
20 to
compensation.
50 years after
You or
the
a family or a
asbestos has
loved
been
one has
inhaled.
mesothelioma.
Within 5
You may
years
be
after
considered for
McNulty's
financial
first
compensation.
mesothelioma patient,
Call
more than
1-800.
100 additional cases appear in workers and former employees of Wittenham. At the time, that's more cases than in all other mines in Western Australia combined. Throughout all these years, the town's residents are not informed about the dangers of asbestos.
Oh no.
They continue their everyday lives in Wittenham, completely
no.
unaware, surrounded by deadly blue dust.
This whole video is just gonna be him reciting
In
ads. Listen, that was my
1966,
childhood.
CSR finally closes the mines in Wittenham. Not because of health risks, though, but
I
due
saw
to
so
economic
many of them.
reasons. Many residents leave, and the population shrinks rapidly. In 1978, the government starts to close the town and urges the remaining residents to leave for their own protection. At the same time, the health consequences for former miners and residents of Wittenham become increasingly apparent. More than 2,000 of them die from asbestos-related diseases. The town is not
Holy
radioactive
shit.
like Chernobyl, but being there for too long is deadly nonetheless. Today, Western Australia has the highest recorded mesothelioma mortality rate in the world. Some former citizens lost almost all of their family. One slow, agonizing death after the other.
Does that make you angry?
Yes. Yes, it makes me very wild. Very, very wild. I wouldn't have lost my husband or my parents if it hadn't been for the asbestos.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sorry. But nobody deserves to die the way that they died.
Yeah, you basically suffocate.
It's cruel.
The,
In the 80s, CSR begins to lose major lawsuits against former workers and residents. Courts established that the company knew that asbestosis and cancer were extremely likely results of working in conditions such as those they permitted in Wittenum. CSR ends up paying millions of Australian dollars in damage.
I feel like that's not even that much, though, considering what happened.
In December 2006, Wittenum finally loses its town status. The power grid is disconnected. The town is removed from official maps and road signs. The blue dust
Nobody lives there now,
remains.
right?
CSR left behind 3 million tons of asbestos tailings. They are at least 40 meters high and are located in the gorges near Wittenum.
Wait, so what do you do with that then? Like, do you just leave it there? But like, wouldn't like the wind carry it and dust carry it like eventually across the continent? Or is that not how that works? Is it too heavy?
The fibers continue to spread through wind and water. This is the WAMA, the Wittenum Asbestos Management Area. It covers over 46,000 hectares and is the largest contaminated stretch of land in the southern hemisphere. Yet, despite all of this, some
You had to
people
bury it or
did not
something,
want
yeah.
to leave the town and their homes. In 2022, the New York Times visited the last residents, an Austrian man named Mario Hartmann and Lorraine Thomas. Both ignored the government's orders to leave. Officials had to
always
ultimately
a few people who
escort
do
Thomas
that.
out of her house. Now, the last residents are gone, and the town is being demolished. But there are still people in Pilbara. The Banjima are indigenous people who inhabited the land around Wittenum long before the mine was ever set up. The area has great
Damn.
cultural significance for the Banjima. This is Maitland Parker, an elder of the Banjima people. He grew up in the vicinity of Wittenum and played in the gorges as a child, with serious health consequences.
I was diagnosed with mesothelioma in 2016, and it's a miracle I'm still here. It's my will keeping me going to fight this blasted thing. A lot
That's
of my
fucking
people have been
crazy.
affected by it, have died from it as well.
For more than 10
46,000 hectares is 177.6 square miles.
years, the
is a
Banjima
lot.
people have urged the government to clean up the area. Already back in 1994, an official report warned the situation would only get worse and strongly recommended the asbestos tailings dumps be cleaned up or stabilized, and that the road into the gorge be removed. But no action was ever taken. It would be too expensive. Disposing of all the asbestos could cost an estimated 100 to 600 million Australian dollars.
And so, yeah, it's going to cost millions, we know that, but hey, that's not our problem.
Until then, the aftermath of Wittenum continues. The blue
What do you mean that's not your
particles
problem?
continue to be taken up by the wind
I
that
know it's not. I'm not saying him. I'm just saying, like, I know it's like the government saying that, but
blows
like,
through the ruins. The tailings continue to crumble into the once magnificent gorges and to river streams. The sharp fibers are still
Damn,
in
that's
the lungs
fucking
of
insane.
people who played on the town's
That's 395
playgrounds and
million
walked its
USD?
streets.
I feel like to potentially prevent like a literal like I don't know disaster for the rest of the continent, that's not that much money.
A great number
But
of these people
I know how it goes.
will die a painful death.
That's fucking crazy. That was kind of a sad video, but I did not know that. So I actually kind of I like learning about shit like that. So thank you for submitting that one.